All right, guys. Hi, it's Ashley with My Soul on Fire again. I know it's been a little bit, things have been crazy around this house, but I'm ready to get started again. Today, I am going to be doing a Milky Way effect of sorts. I'm not going to have a whole lot of light colors in this though, so it's going to be a little bit different than most of them that you'll see. What I've done to start is I've got my cup rotating. I have painted this. I spray painted it aubergine. It is the Rust-Oleum 2x clear coat. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I do prefer Rust-Oleum. It's a satin and it's aubergine. So to start off, I'm going to use, I'm not sure if I'm going to use them all, but I'm going to show you all of the colors that I've chosen, and then we'll kind of figure out from there what I'm going to use. Now, this first one is a Shimmer Tree glitter. This is Iris, and I have chose this. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this or not yet. Now this is, like I said, this is from Shimmer Tree. This is my glitter store. And the thing about it, it is, like I said, it is my glitter store. It is not My Soul on Fire, but it is a company that is owned by me as well. I just like to keep the two companies kind of separate. So this here is the Iris color, and it's like a chunky iridescent purple that has some highlights of blue and pink in it when, you know, it hits the light. I think I'm going to use this. This is my Violet Ice. I hope that you can see this. It's such a pretty color. It's like white with like these blue sparkles highlighting it, and I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not in there, but it is so pretty. Ooh, it is so pretty. And I think I'm going to use that only because it'll be kind of transparent on top of this aubergine, so I'm thinking it's gonna not really show the white, but that it will show that pretty bluish purple highlight that's in there. I'm also thinking that I'm going to use the Black Magic, which is just a black holographic, also from Shimmer Tree. And I may or may not use the Grape Soda as well, which is a metallic purple from Shimmer Tree. Along with that though, I am going to use a couple of glitters. I do believe I'm going to use a couple of glitters anyway that are not from Shimmer Tree. Now, just because I own a glitter store does not mean that I don't use glitter from other people. I think it's important to always just, to not limit yourself to one store, and to just kind of always see what else is out there and what others have. Because no matter how big your store is, you're never going to really have it all. And I love these little independent stores on Etsy. You know, mine is one of them. I think that they're great, and I like to support others that are doing the same thing as me as well. So I am going to show you, I got this gorgeous glitter. It's got purples and blues and then that like kind of turquoise color to it. It's called Mermaid Tails, and it's from GGW Designs. And I got that. I'll put links below to where I found these, but this is just a gorgeous color here. And then this one this isn't the original container that I bought it in, but I like to keep mine in square containers because I feel like it saves room on my shelf a little bit. They fit better when they're flush up against each other. But this I actually got from Glitter Chimp, and it's beautiful. It's called Bad Reputation, I do believe. And it is like, hold on, let me see if I can, if I can pour some of this out. It's like purple iridescent. There's some like dark pinkish, almost purple. There's some holographic colors in there, purple holographic, and then there's some like really fine black glitter and some of these little black rectangular pieces as well. Okay, so now I'm going to put on my epoxy. I'm using Art Resin Epoxy. I think I mixed up a little bit too much. You don't need a whole lot with this because you're not looking for it to move and swirl. You want it to stay in place, and you just want it to hold your glitter on. So what I'm going to do is I made about half a medicine cup of each. that's fine. I'm not going to need all of that, but I do have some silicone molds afterwards that I'm going to be putting it in for some coasters and things that I'm making on the side. So don't worry about waste when you see that I have not used this all. It's not a big deal. I will be using the rest of the resin later. Don't freak out. All right, so this is all mixed up. And I am going to start putting a very thin layer on this cup. Ooh, a little more than I wanted there. Okay, very thin layer. Okay. I am going to need a little bit more, but in a couple spots I put a little too much, so I'm trying to get that spread out first. Okay, there we go. A little bit more. You really don't need very much epoxy at all for this because you don't want it moving around a whole lot. You want it to just hold that glitter in place. So this might be enough now if I've got it all over, and then of course I'm going to put a little on the bottom. But I think I've got a complete coverage now all over. And now I've got to put some epoxy on the bottom. Perfect. All right. So like I said, I've still got about a half medicine cup left. That's fine. I'm going to use it. Don't worry about that. So now I'm going to take my gloves off. And I'm going to let this rotate for a minute. Let's sort of smooth out completely. Like I said, I did not put enough on to where it's really going to move around a lot, and that's good. If you're worried, if you think maybe you've put too much on, just stop your spinner for a minute and watch it. If it starts to form drips on the bottom and pour off fast, like mine still hasn't started to form any drips, which means it's probably pretty good. But if it starts to form drips really fast, you want to let some of that drip off just to you know, get any of that excess off. Just be really careful not to put too much on this. All right, so it is very smooth now. There might be a couple, like there's a couple of tiny itty bitty little bubbles in it. I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to, okay, there might be a few little itty bitty teeny tiny bubbles in it. I'm not actually, there's so few, there's really hardly any, there's a couple. I'm not going to heat it because I don't want this to flow. I want it to stay put. So, I mean, obviously if there were a ton of little bubbles all over this, I would heat it really quick and then kind of let it relax back down before and start to maybe harden, thicken a little bit more again. But in this case, like there's hardly any, so I'm not really worried about it just because of this type that I'm doing right here. So what I'm going to do, some people just put these in like blobs, whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and keep these sort of in ribbons across the cup. So I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to stop it really quick. Oh, I forgot to put my paper down to catch it. I'm rushing now. Okay, this is my paper, my first paper to sop up any of that epoxy that might be there. And this is my second paper to catch the glitter. Okay, so I'm going to pour this sort of in a stripe like that. I like that. Okay, let's move it again. Get some of that excess off there. Perfect. All right, so now I think what I'm going to put is some of my black holographic. And I think I'm just going to use one of my scoopers. Oh, I forgot. You know, I'm just batting 1,000 today. I forgot to change my my paper underneath, so I did just totally waste some glitter, but that's okay. These are really pretty colors together, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to put them aside together and use them in something for sure. So I'm gonna set that aside. There we go. Now I think I'm going to, I think I'm going to use some of the grape soda, and I think I'm just going to get it in a little medicine cup here. And I'm going to stop it again because, like I said, these are not flowing, and that's good. We don't want them to flow. I mean, you might want to, and I mean, that's not going to hurt it at all if you have it flow. It does not have to be perfect. Remember, you are going to be making a Milky Way out of this, so you don't want perfection. Oh, I'm not wearing my glove. Okay. All right, now I think I'm going to put some of my mermaid tails on there. Sure. Let's do this. Oh, it's so pretty. And perfect. I'm really liking where this is going. I think I'm going to take a little bit of my violet ice, and I'm going to put it on this side, I think. I did it again. I keep forgetting. I'm so into this that I keep forgetting to change my paper underneath. You know what I'm going to do? These colors look beautiful together. I'm going to save them in a shaker together and use them on something fun. It'll be beautiful. So I'm just not even going to bother with, I'm not even going to bother with it. Oh, and I love the way this looks with the aubergine underneath it too. So now I think I'm going to do some more of the grape soda, or should I put, yeah, I think I'm going to do a little bit more of the grape soda. little bit more of my black. Okay. And then in here, I think I'm going to put a little bit of that in here. Oh, that mermaid tails is so gorgeous. All right. All right, what color? I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I kind of covered up a lot of that violet ice on this, but I think I'm okay with that actually. With the way this is looking, I think I'm definitely okay with that. I think I'm going to put some more of the grape soda in here. Like right in here. I'm really liking the grape soda and the black magic in this with the two big chunkies. And I'm loving the mix I'm making down here. That's going to be pretty. Okay. Beautiful. And now I think I'm going to put some black magic down there where that is. Where there's a little bit of a spot still. Alright, so I think I'm really liking where that is going for sure. I think I want to put a little bit of one of the chunky colors maybe right in here. It's just missing a little something in there, I think. Maybe if I take a little bit of my iris and throw that in a few spots here. The iris was this one. I think I like that, just those tiny little snippets, and I think I've got something that I really like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another glove on because I need to pat some of these down, some of these big chunkies. They need to be pat down, especially around the edge here. I need to get rid of those, any that are hanging off the edge. And now I'm just going to kind of stop it, and most of them are actually pat down really well. It's just a few in a few spots that are sticking up. Even that bad reputation with those little rectangular pieces, I don't really know, I don't remember what they're called. There's a name for them. I'm sure plenty of people will correct me in the comments, so I don't really need to keep going with that, but there is a name for them. But yeah, even those aren't sticking up, and usually that's something that would stick up a lot, and they're just not sticking up, so that's good. It's a good thing. Looks like everything for the most part is laying down pretty well. And it's not rotating, which is really good. I'm not seeing any of that issue anywhere where it's like starting to swirl, not rotate, swirl. But I think that this is a gorgeous, gorgeous beginning. All right, so here we go. Oh, I see a few sticking up. Hold on, I'm gonna get them as they go by. Here. Yeah, I think that iris was a great kind of pulled it together and added just a little bit more purple, which is I think what it kind of needed. But that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. So now I'm gonna let this, I didn't get any on the bottom. I'm gonna take this off for a minute and just put a little bit on the bottom. But then I'm just gonna let this rotate. Typically, it's kind of late at night. Typically, I would wait a good 4 hours or so and then put another coat on top. But I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm not gonna be up for another 4 hours. So in the morning, I'm gonna put another thin coat over top of this to smooth it out a little bit more, and we'll be good. All right, so it's been about 7 hours. Like I said, I usually only wait like I usually only wait like 4 or 5 to do the flood coat on this, but I wanted to go to sleep. So now I'm going to do the flood coat. It's very smooth already. It's very smooth, but I want it to be like glass smooth, and that it is not. It's flat. You can still feel the glitter, and that's because I didn't put a whole lot of epoxy. I just wanted the epoxy to hold the glitter on it. So what I'm doing now is I'm mixing up some epoxy, and I am going to do a flood coat on this. Okay, so now here I am. I've mixed up, I've got a medicine cup full of it. I may or may not need all of this. I very likely won't, but any leftover I will just be putting into some of my silica molds. So I typically do make like a full cup anytime I'm doing anything, and then I use it in the molds if I've made too much, or on another cup, but typically in a mold. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over this. The beautiful thing is I didn't seal it. I don't need to. It's not moving around a whole bunch anyway. But even if it did, because of the style, I don't really feel like I needed to seal it with any kind of spray or anything like that. If you're doing something more where you want it to stay put and it's a little bit more of a pattern or something, then obviously go ahead, seal it. But the way that I did this, let me get the bottom. The way that I did this cup, I'm not worried about that because the glitter is not moving. When I am putting this on, the glitter is totally not moving. I'm trying to get some around the rim here. Good. There we go. All right, so that is done. And now now that that is done, I am going to very quickly just go over it very briefly with my heat gun. Again, it's on the medium setting, which on my heat gun is 800 degrees Fahrenheit. I feel like the next setting up, which is 1000, gets a little too hot. I have used it before to get things really flowing a little bit faster. but it just kind of, it blows faster too, and it just kind of ends up making a mess. So I tend to stick to the 800, and I go very quickly up and down just a couple times around. Hey guys, I'm back, and I just cannot get over how gorgeous this is looking. I am now to the point where I'm ready to make some mica magic on this. So I have mixed up another cup full of my epoxy, and what I have these 3 different micas. They're from PD Blanks and Glitter. This one is Shadow, and I'll actually show you that so you can kind of see the color. Maybe actually even open it here so that you can see that. It's kind of a shimmery silver. I'm using LOL. These are all 3 from PD Blanks and Glitter. The LOL is this real pretty purple color. And then the Raisin. The Raisin might be my absolute favorite. I love that color. It is so pretty. Okay, so what I do is I just take a tiny bit, like this little tiny container lasts ages. I take the tiniest bit, like this is the Raisin that I've put in there, and that is actually probably a little more than I need. I have 1 cup, hold on, I have 1 cup with the Raisin. I have 1 cup with some LOL, and then I actually have 2 cups with the Shadow, and that is because I'm going to do one that is the Shadow mixed with some epoxy, but I'm also going to make one that's got some acrylic paint in it to make it kind of black, but with that shimmer from the Shadow. So what I am going to do is you know what, let me get this moved for a moment. All right, so I've got all of these here. Basically what I do to get the mica powder out is I just take a little tiny bit on the tip, just like that much on the tip, and I just dab it in there, and that's all that I need. Keep in mind, it's gonna look in the bottom because it's spreading out. It looks like there's a lot more mica powder in there than there actually is. So keep that in mind when you're making yours and getting it ready and mixing it up. There's really not that much at all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this that I've mixed up, and I'm just gonna add, you do not need much. I'm gonna add a little bit to each cup, and I'm going to mix it up. Yeah, that was actually probably a little more mica powder than I needed. A little goes a long way, but look at this gorgeous color that it's making. I hope that you can see that. Don't know if you'll be able to or not to really see how pretty that color is. It's gorgeous. Okay. So I've got that. Now I'm going to mix the LOL. It's the LOL. It's hard for me to see on that little screen if you guys are really able to see the colors that it's capturing. So I really hope that you are. Now the first thing of Shadow here. And this is just like a silver. And then the next one, got my Shadow. I'm going to pour this in, and okay, I'm gonna pour that in, mix it up a little bit. And then I'm going to add a little bit, I forgot to open this, so I'm just gonna do it this way. I'm gonna add a little bit of black acrylic paint. I really wasn't prepared for this like I should have been. I mean, I knew what I was doing, so I just forgot. That's probably too much. Just maybe about that much acrylic paint, and we'll kind of see where that goes. Add a little bit more. Nope, I think that that's perfect. It makes this sort of, oh, that's beautiful. Now I think that I'm gonna maybe, no, I think I'm good. Okay. So now I have those 4 colors and I have a little bit of my epoxy left. So what I'm going to do first, let me get this back into view. I'm going to turn this on. Uh-oh, where's my pan? Turn it on like that. And I'm going to get started here. First I'm going to put a light layer, just a light layer. Again, you don't, at least I don't want this to swirl, okay? I'm not looking for a swirl, I'm just looking for a light layer of epoxy for this stuff to sort of sit on. Okay, so I have that first layer on, and now I'm going to take some of these colors and just kind of, I like to take it in a diagonal. I don't like to be messy and some people like that. That's great. I think that, I mean, it is your preference entirely. This is just my preference. I like to keep it a little bit more controlled. So I just take my little popsicle stick and I get some that on it, and I try to just kind of go like that and make a line across it. That didn't go all the way, so now I'm going to come back and do it again. I'm going to do it here too. That one's pretty good looking. Oh, that's a pretty color. That's looking real pretty. I wish that you guys could really see this up close and see the shimmer and the beautiful colors. That was a mess. Don't do that. Don't do what I just did there. Okay. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to hit it with a little bit of silver here and there. And some of this raisin I think will be good. Okay, and I think I'm gonna try some of the LOL. Okay, so now I don't really like the way it starts to twist, so I kind of guide it along down there. And I think I'm going to add a little bit more black to the top up here. Ooh. So anywhere where I'm not really sure, I kind of just take my popsicle stick and I can just kind of move it. If it's a little too thick somewhere, I just sort of move it along. And I usually try to stay, you know, it'll start to clump a little bit toward the bottom because that's just the natural with the shape of the cup. So I usually try to pull it from the top a little bit. I'm just going to keep kind of watching it for a minute and then kind of, and this is just how I do it. Other people do it differently. Sorry. My husband left his phone in here. And that is his alarm going off on his phone. How he hears that is beyond me. how we get that to him. So I'm going to watch this for a few minutes, and then if I'm not liking it, I'm just going to go in and do what I've been doing. I'm just going to move it the way I want to move it. All right, so I started playing around with it a little bit. I wanted there to be more presence of the black, I think, and less of the lighter colors. So I played around with it a little bit, and I actually took, I had a little bit of the leftover shadow, that silvery color epoxy, and I let it sit for a few minutes to start to let it like thicken up a bit so that it wouldn't move. And I put some of that, I added a little bit of the black paint to that when it had gotten just a little bit thicker, and then I put that on here and just kind of did this across. And I think I love that now. I think it looks a lot better now. So I'm just gonna kind of let it rotate and cure and see where we're at tomorrow. See if I still need to fiddle with it. Or if I'm good where I'm at. All right, see you tomorrow, guys. Oh,